So I'm Casey Raymond. I'm in the Department of Chemistry. I'm on the work group for accessibility practices. I'm going to be leading the faculty fellows this coming year. Unfortunately, Catalina yesterday had to back out of presenting today. So what I'm going to present are dealing with captioning videos both within Panopto and within YouTube, but I'm not going to focus on doing so in a non-English language. All right. We hope that later in the semester, Catalina will be able to put together a session and at least a recorded video on doing non-English language captioning that can be shared with everyone, because that's going to be just a little bit different, potentially a little more challenging. So the first thing I think we'll do is I'm going to look at captioning within YouTube. And on our digital accessibility page in the written tutorials and video tutorials is a section on YouTube captioning. And I'm going to drop that link in the chat just so folks have it. So that'll get you directly to this document for captioning within YouTube. I created a short 1-minute video this morning. Not very exciting, but I intentionally used at least one word I knew would need to be corrected. And so I want to show you how to get the captions there initially, and then how to edit them to ensure that the captions are correct. And so from your YouTube account, which we have one right from our Google Drives, our Google accounts. Should get that tab open. If you click the 9 little dots down below, there's a link to your YouTube portion of Google. And so when you open that, you'll get into your account. There's a place where you can upload videos. I've already uploaded a video, but I made it not viewable or not listed because I didn't think it needed to be out there for anyone to see. But you'll pick upload. You can select your file. In my case, it's just sitting on the desktop. And you get a series of menu items then that it'll step you through to be able to upload. You can change the title of it if you want. You can add descriptions. As you start to go through, you can see down here, it's processing it. There's some parental guidance type of things you can add in. You can add it to playlists. Yes, it's fine for kids. Right off the bat, you think, oh, subtitles, I can do it here. Just ignore this. Just don't do anything with this here. And then it's checked okay for copyright. I'm going to go ahead and say next. This is where I said it's going to be unlisted. And if I share the link with anyone, they'll be able to see the video, but it's just not listed and viewable, searchable for people to stumble onto it. Okay. And then once you save that, it uploads the file, starts to get it in place. It also automatically does the captioning. It takes a little bit of time. It might take anywhere from 5 minutes to overnight, depending on the size of the video. But the key thing is that it does get to add the captions. And so I want to go back to just my parent screen here that we saw earlier. And in this view, I'm going to click up here on my icon, just like we would kind of do in our Google Gmail's accounts. And I want to go into YouTube Studio. And when I do that, this is where I'm going to be able to edit content. And so I'm going to come down to my content. And so here's the video I uploaded earlier. And it allows me to look at the details, how many people have looked at it, any comments. I can view it on YouTube. But also over here under content is subtitles. And so you click on subtitles. And so this video I uploaded has already been closed captioned automatically by YouTube. And so when I click on this, it opens up and it says I've got English subtitles automatically that were done on this morning. And I'm going to say duplicate and edit. And so now when I do that, it brings up a window for the video and it brings up the captioning that it created. And so one of the things you can see probably pretty quickly is that any punctuation and any formatting isn't there. But we can just go right in the window and add it along the way to tie things together. And it's blocked this way based on how the video was recorded. But we can go through and correct grammar and so forth and be sure things are spelled correctly, things are identified correctly. But during the video, I mentioned that I'm in chemistry and that my office is in the Shineman Center. And so I'm in chemistry, which means my office is in the Cinnamon Center. The dictionary that YouTube uses, I don't think has cinnamon in it. And so it makes its best guess. And cinnamon sounds kind of like cinnamon. So we're going to just automatically say cinnamon. Well, it's not. And so we need to go in and edit that. All right. And so this allows you to just pretty quickly go in and edit the captions that it's done automatically for you. And then you can save it as a draft, you can publish it. And then with publishing it, now we've got the captions available on the video in YouTube. And so that's going down through this set of steps that are in this tutorial that's posted online. And editing the captions. And there's shortcuts if you want to skip around. There's several keyboard shortcuts that are listed. Be aware if you're doing a video that's got a lot of technical jargon or words that are discipline specific, you're probably going to have a lot of editing and correcting to do. But you can see from what I showed already, it does a pretty good job of capturing most of the text in a reasonable way. All right. So that's how to do YouTube. Make sense? So if you've used Panopto, maybe as part of Blackboard, maybe as part of classes, you can create your Panopto content and it can be loaded up into your folder in Panopto, which is what I did here. It's the same movie. If you create your movie somewhere else, not directly in Panopto, you can still use Panopto because here on Create, you can just upload media. So I can upload a video file. So if you created a video from something else, you can still load it into Panopto. Panopto also does automatic closed captioning. Again, might be 5 or 10 minutes after you upload it. It might be several hours or overnight, but it does do the captioning automatically for you. And you can go in and edit those captions. So on this captioning example video that I have here, I'm going to click on the edit. And it'll take a minute to load depending on the size of your file. And so it brings up the movie, the sound bits here, You can certainly cut pieces out. So if I wanted to cut the first few seconds out of this video, I could just highlight it and cut it out. We're here to talk about captions. And over here on the left, there's a captions menu item. And when I click on that, here are the captions that it's imported from automatically capturing the video. And you can see this does a little bit better with at least capitalization, and it tries to kind of include some punctuation. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but it's there. And in this case, instead of the Cinnamon Center coming up as Cinnamon Center, it came up as Cinnamon Center. And so again, all we have to do, go in, edit those, and then to save it, after you've done all your corrections, you click on apply. And so then that will reprocess the video file, make sure the caption's the way you wanted it, and then be available later in your folder. And there's some discussion of how you go through and do that provided in Panopto support, and I just put that link in the file as well. And you can see right now it's working on embedding those captions that we just corrected. And I think it's done already. And so those are the two really common video posting or hosting sites that we use on campus, either in Panopto or in YouTube, and how the captioning works within those two frameworks and how you can edit your captions within those two frameworks. So I made it look really easy probably, and I made it look like, oh, it does all the work for you. But I suspect that you've noticed going back and making sure that the captioning is correct and punctuation's reasonable can take a lot of time, especially if you have long videos or a lot of the videos. But as a starting point, you don't have to go in and type everything from scratch, which is a big advantage. Questions? Did it kind of make sense?
It's very clear for me to follow along, and I had no knowledge of this prior. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's surprising. Oh, that's why. Do I want to change it? Yes, I want to change it. It is pretty straightforward once you got the right steps in place. It's just unfortunate that it can take quite a bit of time to do the edits on those and make sure that they're really the way you want them.